Okay, so welcome. We're going to get started immediately. A quick reminder, everything again, I think I didn't cover this last class, but I think now we know that the Google Classroom is obviously where you're going to be getting the notes for the lesson and the quiz. So today's lesson and today's quiz will officially be there later on this week. So that's going to be lesson 2. So please, one more thing though, I do want to say is that we need you to, turn in your lesson quiz. So if you haven't done that, probably do that now. We need it turned in. Even though we do have the quiz list, everything is being monitored and organized, but turning in is important. That's why we set the quiz. So you're not uploading anything. You're just saying, I've done it, turn in, that's all. Okay, so if you're amongst these 19 people, please turn it in. If you're already the 5 people, then great organization, good job. Keep that up. Now, moving on to one more important thing is, as you know, lesson 1 comes with a learning journey, right? We know that. And I only see a very few students because I'm the one that mostly monitors the learning journey and I go and read through, right? And sometimes you see a reaction that is being put from Nazli Tech School on your learning journey. That's because I've read it through. So I've only seen, I think, about 5 or 6 students and we're 20 something. So again, if your learning journey isn't complete for a lesson, I mean, if you haven't posted what you've learned, what you've observed, how you worked in a very natural space, like the picture, some of you are very creative, taking a picture of yourself on the laptop from the suggestion that we gave you and other creative ideas that you have while you're posting your learning journey. It's not just us looking at that. It's many people on the network looking at your learning journey because you're tagging us and you're tagging Women in Tech Rwanda. So if you haven't posted your learning journey, it's only 50% of lesson 1 is done, because at the end of this course, I did wanted to show you guys an example of the work submitted by students usually when they complete courses like this. So I don't know, I'll see if I can open it because it's in a what do you call it, sheets. I need to go into a sheets and I need to go into the list of students and open an example. So maybe if I don't do that today, maybe next time for sure I'll do it. But 50% is the learning journey, and then the quiz is 50%, making 100%. At the end, we ask you to put all the screenshots of all these things when you're submitting in a specific way, how you're going to submit. So if you miss any one of these, it's going to affect you in your final report. When you have the report card, that's your GPA for the course. I hope you understand. Now let's get into our lesson. I'm excited because there's so many things today on this lesson. One great thing that I've done here is I decided that I think visual would be a great way for people to kind of maybe understand a little bit better in terms of like when we come into this Imogongo cybersecurity sort of, should I say, pass feature, right? Understanding the lines of codes, because I did share with you guys the notes last time. I'm still using the same notes. I did say that I wasn't going to give you the entire thing. So the notes obviously are sort of very broken down. The way the academic team has done this, they have really just broken down what the lines are doing, but I decided to add some extraness to it. So I am going to go over just this, like skim through it really. And you will see that it's showing the pattern, one of the Imogongo pattern designs. And of course, like I said, you can get your pattern design, whatever it is. You just have to understand the technique, the strategy to get the pattern and how to be able to generate that code for the pattern so you can have it like a batch, like a security batch whenever they are successfully signed up or they are logged in successfully. So I will go over this hopefully today. If I don't, obviously it's when we come to it, I will go over it. I might be recording an extra lesson. Like after we do this lesson, if I see the need, I might record another like video. It might be a pre-recorded, pro-recorded or post-recorded video to kind of complement so that you can be able to finish one thing, quicker. So I think I might do that, but I'll see. Let's see how far we go. Now I have my code here. If you guys remember, the code that we did obviously is not this one. This is just sort of maybe what we're going to get to today. But what we did last time, I'm going to stop it. And by the way, if you're having problems with your, with your Code Hills or your app loading and all that stuff, the only solution really is just to communicate with the AI. That's only what you need to do. Just communicate with the AI on the side. Tell it, I can't see my program. I can't see my program. Most of the time when you say you can't see your program on the virtual network controller, which is the VNC, then it will mostly fix the problem. Sometimes the problem is really just the port For example, I was having some issue with the VNC in the beginning of this class, and I kind of need to go get through some of these proxy things. You don't really need to understand what's going on. Just say you can't see it until you can see it. Really, that's what happens. And then it will fix it for you. So I just wanted to tell you that. And sometimes when you are, have a database that's been installed and it's not sure, when we get to the database phase, then just ask it and it will fix it. Okay, so now we have had our picture generated. Moving on. So that means this picture, if you remember, has been generated. I decided to pick this from what I said. So now we're going to move on to the next part, which is to actually show this picture on the background. So on the home screen, and then add some things, which are the username, the password, and the confirm password. So I'm going to continue from here. So what we'll do to do that is we need to create what we call an image icon object. So on the next line, I'm going to create an image icon object. And why we're doing that is because the name of my image path is the name of my picture, home1.jpg. I will show you how we can basically make this animated, but later, so that you can see the difference and you decide how you want your home screen to be. So what I'm doing is creating an object of this image icon class, and I will assign this object the image path. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to show this picture on my background, right? So the way I can do it is I can show this picture on my panel. Remember, we talked about panel being like the support in a frame, and then we said the frame was like the external structure, like a skeleton, and then you'd have like maybe the flesh, which is like the panel, and then you start to have like the organs, which is what we're trying to do right now with the JPanel. So that's exactly what's happening with the JLabel, sorry, not the JPanel. So I've started by creating this object, and I will put comments later on, but for now I can just put a little comment. So I created an object of the image on class to this. Okay, someone says my screen's not showing. Can you give me a minute?
Okay.
Yes, please, if you can't see my screen, oh, that's true. I wasn't sharing my screen the whole time? Oh,
Yeah.
that was very bad. Why were you all keeping quiet? You should have
I was
said
raising my hand.
Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry, guys. I think you're hearing me just speak. I've never seen anything. I'm sorry about that. I've started sharing my screen. I don't know if you guys can see it now. Can you guys see my screen okay? All good? Yes? Okay. Sorry, please, next time if you raise your hand and I'm not paying attention to that, or maybe I didn't see it, please just let me know, like I think Samila did. I'm just going to run through what I said real quickly, okay? I'm not going to spend time. I was talking about the classroom, like this part, as you can see, and I was saying that here you will find your lessons. And I was saying that you're going to find like lesson 2 over here. So just keep an eye. I also said that lesson 1 is split into 2 parts. 50% is your quiz, 50% is your learning journey. Congratulations to those students who have done the learning journey, and those who haven't, please do it. Make sure you've done it because, today's the deadline and it's 50%. So that's what I was saying. I'm not going to take much time here. I was saying that I was happy that I got Mugongo geometric design. You guys, I guess, didn't see this notes. And I was saying I generated this specifically for this software engineering class so that you can be able to understand the code lines. Because really, when I explain code lines, you might understand it, but if you visualize it, it will be better. So remember that the Mugongo design that I have, let me just show you guys quickly. The one that I'm going to use, but it doesn't mean that you have to use the exact same thing I'm using. However, you can. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I'm saying that you can get any sort of Imagongo pattern design that you like, or any kind of design really. It doesn't have to be, wherever you are. And then you just really take a screenshot and that's it. And then you generate the code for that. And I'll show you how you can use my code as an example. And I'm trying to explain to you based on my own design. There's like a lot of Imagongo pattern designs in Rwanda. So yeah, so I'm just saying that based on mine, I explained how this works, but I'll show you how you can be able to get the codes for yours and how you can explain how yours is working so you understand. So it's not just getting codes and typing codes, it's understanding what the codes are doing. We're just trying to go the simpler way. So I'm not going to go through this now. We haven't gotten to this stage, but when we do, I'll skim through it. It's very simple, actually. The main notes are here. I showed you guys last time, remember? This is our main notes for the home screen, the sign-up page, remember? Once I teach you how to do the sign-up page, you're going to do the login page yourself because it's easy. It's the same thing like the sign-up page, but there's a slight logic there. So I'll explain it to you. And then we'll go on to the resources page. We have 6 resources, by the way, 3 at the top, 3 at the bottom. If you don't already know these resources, I might share, well, you saw them in the induction. We have those, but you can change and put your own resources, whatever you know about resources. The idea is that we need natural resources and we need water product resources. So that's easy, like that part is easy. The main part is understanding how we can get from there, from beginning to that part. So all these code blocks are there. Okay, now let's get back to what I was saying. I was creating an object of this. If you didn't see it, this is the object I created for the image icon. I'm going to try to go a little bit maybe slower just to explain what's going on, but this is like the first part since we started our class. When we did our class, we ended up here, if you remember. So you got to go check. I'm sure you have it in your code. So now we're moving on to this part, how we can actually show the background image on the home screen and how we can animate it, make it an animated screen. That's coming up. So once we've done that, we need to create a JLabel. So a JLabel, really you can call it anything. When we say creating objects in Java, we mean like you can give it any name you want. And when you see this in the beginning, this is what we call the class, okay? Classes are usually keywords. Or what we say keywords like string, like image icon, they're not all classes. Classes, you would sometimes say, oh, but why do we start class with class here? And here, why is this considered a class? Well, not all classes must start with class. That's your main class. Like that's where your code blocks are in. This one is a class called image icon, and it's going to help us show this image on the background of our home screen. So this is one way to do it. And then we're going to make an object of it. I'll call this one label 1. So I'll explain as much as I go, and I'll explain what I'm doing here. So what is this part? Again, object of my image icon. This is one step. You just have to do it this way when you're going with image icon class. The next step is you're creating an object of your JLabel class. Now, you guys know in English, a label is like a placeholder. It holds a text, right? Same thing is happening here. But the only difference is that we're using label as a placeholder for the picture, not for the text now. So you're going to see that I'll use the label again for the text. You're going to notice that later on when I'm trying to put username, and then I put the box for the username, then I put password, I put the box, then I put confirm password, then I put the box. That you will see me using label for text. Here, I'm using it to show my image as a placeholder, okay? So once that's done, the next thing I'll do is I'll set the bounds. Now, you guys are going to notice that I'm using something different now. So before, I was always using set size. Now I'm using set bounds. Okay, why? Well, because I used set size when I was trying to set the size of the frame, like the main skeleton, right? I decided that the size would be 1,376 by 768. Why? That was the size of the picture that we downloaded from Gemini. That necessarily doesn't have to be your size. I mean, size depends on the screen. Necessarily, we want something to create that can go with anybody's screen, whether they're on the mobile device and they're horizontal, all of a sudden they twist the device, they become vertical, like your phones, how you twist it and it changes immediately. That's versatility. That's the cleaning up part when you finish this main app. So that in the beginning, we set it to be this size. I did the same thing for the panel to be a horizontal display. But for the label, I'm using set bounds, which is like set size, but the only difference is that I'm putting it on X and Y coordinates. Now let's get back to math a little bit. What do you remember from math? Very simple thing in terms of coordinates, I mean. So you know that the Y coordinate is positive at the top, right, north, and it's negative at the bottom, south. The X coordinate is positive at the right, but it's negative on the left. So if you want to position anything anywhere in programming, always think about it like that. If I want to go top right, that means that my X has to be positive because it's right, and my Y has to be also positive because it's top. So top, Y is positive at the top. So I'm saying that my X and Y will start at 0, 0. Okay, so this is how the set bounds looks like. This is a method, by the way, it's called a method. We have the X coordinate first, then we have the Y coordinate, then we have what is the width of what you're trying to put, what is the size, what size do you want, whatever you're putting, whether it's an image, whatever, text, anything. So, and then what's the height? Usually it will refer to a text or something, or label or an image. So this is really what set bounds does. And if I put a negative, what do you think that means? If I put negative here, negative 50, What am I saying? I'm saying that this picture that is going to go on the panel, which is going to go on the frame, this picture I'm saying on the panel, I want it to shift more to the left. So -50, away from positive. So more towards that left side. If I go more negative, then more towards the left. If I go positive, like 300, then I'm saying more towards the right, because X is the first coordinate you start with. So by default, I'm just putting 0 until you test your app and you see how it looks like. Then you can determine, do you want it to be at 0, 0? Does it look good? Do you want it to move up, down? You can determine how X and Y is going to be. But just remember that the beginning is always your X and Y coordinate. Then what follows is your width and your height. That's it. So that's all we need to do really for the set bounds. You can actually test it and see if it works. So the first thing you want to do to test this to see if it's working is that you have to call your main panel. Do you remember what that is? The object of your JPanel. You have to call that and you have to add your label. And if you do, this means that you're saying that this picture is going on my main panel. So the picture goes on the main panel, and the main panel goes on the JFrame, and then the JFrame gets to show. So that's really what you need to do. So the last thing is you'd have to call your frame object, and you'd have to add your main panel. You see what I'm doing, like a puzzle sort of, building it up. And then finally, you have to set your frame to visible. So that means you have to make it seen. That means you need to say that the visibility of your frame needs to be true. Make your frame visible. What does frame mean? The original sort of structure, right? So original structure showing the picture. That's it. So this is like a first initial test. When you're at this point, you could test and see if you're able to see this first. And that's what we're going to do right now. And one important thing once you get here. So remember, we first set up our frame, right? Then we set up our panel, which goes on the frame. Then we set up our image, which we use the JLabel as a placeholder to put that on the main panel, which then goes on the frame. And now we're finally adding everything to the frame, and then we're making the frame show. Now for this whole thing to work, because this is inside of a method, remember what I told you, to keep yourself organized, things go in methods. You have a method showing your home screen. You have a method responsible for checking if the user can log in or not, or can sign up or not. You have one that goes to the next page, et cetera, et cetera. These methods keep your code organized. So I'm calling the first method by doing this. Now let's go over to VNC. Let's close. Let's go over to console. Click run, really, just very simply run. And then go over to your VNC. If you don't see anything display on your VNC, I'm just saying because it happens. If you don't see anything display on your VNC, then you got to go back to your agent. And you shouldn't be panicking, because that means it's not your fault. If you don't have a red line, I'm going to repeat again, and you don't see anything on the VNC, then you have to go to your agent and you just have to do what I did before the class. I can't see my thing. I can't see my program. Because usually what the problem is that there's a port. For those of you who are doing networking in computer science, there is a port that is the server of the Replit that usually opens up so that your program can connect to the Replit server and can get to be run on the Replit server, or you can say Replit network, if that's easy to understand. So if the port is changed, look at what happens. If the port changes, the usual port I think is 5,000 from what I know. If the port changes for whatever reason, it's like your what do you call that thing in English? The doorknob, and you have a key, right? You know there's a key for every doorknob. So if you change the doorknob, you have to get a new key. Pretty much the same thing. So you just have to communicate with the agent so it adjusts the port for you and say, I can't see it, take a screenshot, put it there, upload it here. By the way, you know there's an upload, and say, this is my picture and I can't see my VNC. This is what I see. I can't see my program. This is what I see. And then it will fix it. It will adjust. So as you guys can see, it's working good. So far, so good, right? Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's see how well it looks like. So it's showing, I have to zoom out, but the main important thing I'm kind of concerned about is, look, if you don't see part of your thing, you've zoomed out all you want, and there's something, because I do remember I have a text here. Like if you look at my original picture, let's go back to home. I have text, isn't it? It's supposed to show my text, but it's not showing the text. So I have something partly showing. That means you have to adjust your code. Now, let me show you how you do that. You go back to your main, and you go back here. Now I'm zoomed out. You might see my screen, my text tiny. I'm going to zoom back in, but I just want to show you. Go back here. The problem is most likely in your Y coordinate. You don't even need any business with your X coordinate. Why? Because logic tells you that the picture is more down. So you can't see the text or whatever it is. It might be more down, or it might be more going to the right. Maybe you have a text on the right or something there. You don't see it because it's going more to the right. Whatever the situation is, you should know, are you going to adjust your X? That means if your picture is affected on the left or right, you need to adjust your X coordinate, which means this one. Do I need to take it more to the left so I can see it a little bit, or more to the right? For me, my text is down, so I need to adjust my Y coordinate. Let's say I make my Y -6. Now, -6, normally you're going to say, isn't it supposed to go more down because Y is negative at the bottom? That's true, but the way programming works is different, a little bit different in terms of math. When you talk about Y coordinate being positive, it's true, it's positive at the top, but it starts to be positive way, like, imagine how tall the screen could be. Like way at the top, it's negative, 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 then positive, then positive, then positive, then positive, then negative, then it goes like more positive, or just imagine it's like positive here, like maybe at the main, like starting at 0 or something, and then you're going all down positive, positive. This is your Y. And then maybe when you start getting down towards here, it's negative, negative, negative. It's like sort of the opposite, only on the Y side, like sort a little bit different, but just remember that you have to make it negative if you want it to raise up. So now let's try it and see. I made it -6. Let's stop it. Let's clear past runs. And then let's do a quick relaunch again of my VNC. Go back. So I'm reloading the screen. Let's see how different that is. Okay, so my VNC is kind of stuck on, because you see it didn't make any change. And that's because if you go back, sometimes you might need to check and see what, again, port is exposed. So I need to adjust my coordinate, my X and Y, my Y coordinate, sorry. So in this case, I have -6. If it doesn't reflect for you, you can always tell the agent to do this, because, for example, mine is not reflecting. Look at what I'm going to say. Recompile my program and display it on VNC. This is one thing you can do, okay? Recompile means that whatever is previous, I want you to reload my program again. So you can say recompile my program and display it on VNC, because right now, so it's doing what I'm telling it. Right now, my bottom program wasn't showing very much, so at the main. So what you do is you try to adjust that, and sometimes when you do it, usually will fix the problem because it will show you. So try with a bigger number, like -30. If you still don't see it, I'm going to show you another trick you can do. Because here you notice there's a workspace down below here, right? So you see workspace 1, workspace 2. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm going between workspaces and then go back to my workspace. And this is something that I ideally don't want to do. So anyways, you don't have this problem if you have a normal program running. I'm going to show you what I mean. So let me run it again one more time, and let's see if I can see it. If not, I'll show you a little trick. So I'll stop it, save, rerun again. The idea is I've made it -30 on my Y coordinate, so it's supposed to essentially go further higher up. Okay, it's coming up. Do you notice? The text is coming. It's starting to show. So I made it -30. I probably can take it to maybe, like, let's try -60. So that's on my Y coordinates. So again, you just keep adjusting until you see a change, and then you can stop. So I'm going to rerun my VNC again. And if you're wondering where I'm running from the workflow, I'm not running the whole thing because I could do that, but I just want the workflow. So I'm going back again, and you see now my text is showing. Now, if you're wondering, okay, my text shows, but this is all cut off. Again, that has to do with you and what you decide at the end. There is a solution that I'll show you later on, but really what I wanted is happening. My text is showing up until here. Everything looks normal, so I'm happy up until now. So if you want to make more adjustments, I'll explain that later on. Let's move on for now. So I'm going back to my code. My background is showing. If you've done this successfully, then you have done a great job. The next thing you need to do is start inserting what? Labels. And so I like to organize my code. What am I doing here? Inserting username, password, and confirm password, labels, and text boxes. I'll take this to the side just so you guys can see what I'm typing. Okay, so what do we do? The first thing we have to do, I'm going to create an object of font. Do you guys know much about fonts? I'm creating an object of font. I'm going to call this one font1 equals new font. Font, by the way, you can check Google Docs, okay? I mean, it's up to you, really, what you want for your font. I'm putting a font called sans serif. I'm making my font bold. However, there's different options. You can make your font bold, you can make it plain, or you can make it italic. That makes sense. And then I'll put a size for my font, maybe 18. So let's explain what's happening, why I'm doing this. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to create labels, right? I want to have username, then the box, password, the box. You confirm password, then the box. So for me to do that, I'm trying to make one type of writing, one type of font. When the user is typing their username, that font style, I'm choosing sans serif. You can choose Calibri, you can choose Arial, whatever you find on Google Docs or anywhere else. You can search online for Java fonts. And then I'm using the font.bold, meaning that I want the font when they're typing the letters to be bold, like bold. You guys know bold. I could say plain, you know, if you guys don't really care about bold, just go plain, or you could, yeah, go that, or you could do italic, really, whatever you want. Like I said, I'm gonna leave it at plain, let's say. And then I put the size of my font to be 18. So you guys know that the bigger the number, the bigger the text. So it's depending on how big you want the text to show while they're typing username. The password, they cannot see it because it's masked, but the username they can see. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm setting my font size. So here is setting font to sans serif, and then 18 for the size. You can search the type of font you want. Moving on. Now let's start creating the label. Starting with the first label, remember I used this before. I'm going to create another object called label2 equals to name, JLabel. Let's call this username. You can obviously give it another name, but I think the most name everybody knows is username. Now, what do we need for the label? The label object, be careful because your label object is the one that you're going to use to set the label, like the size, the text, and all that stuff. So my label is label2.setBounds. Remember, I used this before. It means like, this is very important. Where do you want to put the label? Where do you want username to go so that the text box goes? Do you want it to be more like a flow layout, like they go all horizontal? Or do you want it like more in the middle, then username, then the text box underneath? It really depends on you. Again, you have to put your X and Y coordinates. So for me, I'm going to try something like 180 from my X coordinate. My Y coordinate, maybe 342, or maybe not so specific. Let's go 300, right? Let's assume. And then my size, like how long do you want the label to be? If your label is like a long text, you really want the length to be long so that you show everything. If you put a shorter like size for your label, if you have a long text, then it will cut it off. So I'm going to go for 250 for my width in pixels, by the way. 250 pixels, the width of the size of the text label, and the height, really, that doesn't really matter. The thickness of how tall the text will be, 25 pixels. The more you increase the numbers, the more it becomes big and big, like a big text, like a big title. So again, I'll explain what this is. Okay, so set bounds, what I'm doing is I'm setting my X coordinate here to be 180. I'm setting my Y coordinate here to be 300. I'm setting my width to be 250, and we speak about size in computing using pixels. This is really what I'm setting. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to set our font, right? Because we have a font that we're trying to use for all like the text. How you can change fonts, by the way. You don't have to have only one type of font to use it for how the username is going to be written, and when they're typing, I want the same font. You can change, you can create as many objects as you want, like different style of writing for different things. You just have to do the exact same line on line 35, paste it and change the name of the font. And then this is how you change it whenever you want to show it. You'll write the name of your label object, then you'll say set font. Then you'll say what type of font do you want that to be showing in. I want it to show with font 1. What is font 1? My sans serif, the size is 18, you know, and that's what I want. So I'm actually going to do 2 fonts so you can see the difference. Now, the next thing is you can set the foreground color. You guys know what foreground is? Okay. Some people don't like to be very restrictive with this. What is foreground? Foreground means the text color. That's what it means. I don't know why they call it foreground, but I think that was the name they give it. It means the color of your text. That means the username is a text, the color of that. If you don't, there are specific colors, and I want to show you. If you go to Google, just go to Google search, and in Google, you go searching up for list me all acceptable colors in Java using color dot, if you want to be more specific on what you need. And anywhere you go, really, any one of these, they will give you all the colors that Java accepts or knows, like you can see it here, the one that it knows. If you want a specific kind of color, because you don't want white or you don't want green or you don't want the generic colors, but you want a specific, then you have to create a color object. Now, somewhere I like to go, what's the name of that website I like to go? I forgot. I always tell my students to go there. I think it's Coolers. I don't know if you guys know it. It's a really cool website. You can play around with things, even for people who are graphics designers, I think, like this website. It's called coolers.co. When you go in here, you see what I'm doing? It's very interactive. See how it turns into colors? Anyways, you go into start. There's like 110 million type of color palettes. So as I go, color palette changes. Whichever one you like, really, you can use. And if you want to use it, what you could do is first you'd come over here. I think I remember the syntax. You just have to create a color object. And I'll just write a comment. I'm doing something. I'll explain to you. Commenting, creating, I wanted to say, a color object to set color to what kind of color? Maybe let's go together. Let's find a color for my username. Let's say I want to use a specific color. So I'm on the Coolers website, by the way. I'm doing something. I'm looking for a specific color that I want my username to be in. Let's say I go for Perusian vibrant coral, maybe that. So vibrant coral, just write the color. Sorry, I keep shifting this stuff is because I write and I bring it back. So anyways, you would do this. What the AI is suggesting is definitely what you will do. Okay, you have to create a color object. So when we create a color object, it's very simple. Again, Java is about classes. Everything is an object. So I'll call this one color object. You can call it whatever you want. Equals to new. Again, the same kind of way of writing the objects. And now in parentheses, what am I going to put? You're going to have to put what we call the RGB, red, green, and blue primary color of whatever the color is. This stuff that you're seeing here is called hexadecimal. This is also what the computer understands. Now, I'm sure in computer science, you guys learned conversion between hexadecimals, binary. We're not going to do all of that now. Just understand that this is a shorter way of, instead of writing 101010 of a lot of things, it's a shorter way of representing different type of color shades. And they all come from the primary colors like you learn in art, red, green, and blue. Now, how do you get the RGB? The RGB is here. You just click this option, go to your RGB. You see the colors. This is the color shades. This is 250 pixels of red, 93, and then 94. 240, 93, and 94, not 250, sorry. So that's what you're going to put here. 240, comma, what did you have there? 93, 94, in that order. Put it in that order. 93, and then 94. That's it. And then put your semicolon. Once you've done that, this is all you're going to do next. So instead of me saying set foreground to color white, because that was the generic colors that are available in Java, we have a few of them, I've now chosen the color that I want specifically, which is called the vibrant coral. Remember? That's the color. So this, I have created an object of it to say that I want that color. And now I'm setting my label to that specific color. That's all. That's all you have to do. And now as you do that, the next thing you always have to do, if you still want those normal colors, then you can go with color.black, color.green, the primary colors really, that's what Java, there's a list of them, you have to find them online. So the next thing I'll do is never forget to add anything you're putting on your screen, always add it to your main panel. So our main panel is called the main panel, right? The JPanel, I mean, the one that we created at the beginning. That's like the flesh, so you're kind of putting like the organs now. So this is like our first organ, if you want to say it this way. You know, kidney, liver, lungs, all that stuff. So this is going on the main panel. Now, once you've done it, it should automatically show on your VNC when you stop and rerun it, of course. See how that looks like so far. Stop everything. If you don't want too much stuff running here, I think I showed you before, just run the VNC itself. You don't have to run the main thing, just the VNC, and you don't get too much things here, you see? Not much. Now, if you go to your VNC, check and see if you see your, what do you call it, your label show up. I'm zooming out. My label isn't showing up anywhere. So here or here, it doesn't show. So you got to go check your code one more time. According to the code that we have is fine. We've added our label, we've put our font, we've put our, we've put it in the main label, it's supposed to show. So you could do two things. Even if you decide to do, let's try doing this first, and then I'll show you. I mean, even if you decide to do it this way, you see what I just did? I'm not doing anything. I'm just commenting the line so it doesn't work. I've commented these two lines. And let's say that you just want to check if this is actually working. So maybe the color isn't showing for whatever reason. So if you do it this way, and let's say I increase the size so you can see it real well. Let's make it 50, big, really big. And so I've put everything and I've tried to show my label and I've added it to my panel. Now let's see if it's showing. If this doesn't show you on the VNC, then it means you got to come here and recompile again. That's what you have to do, because otherwise you're not going to see it. It's from your agent. You just need to recompile, and it's normal. Recompilation means like rerun. Just ask the agent to recompile it again. So it will adjust itself as you keep coding. So when you come here, you come back to console, stop it again. So this should tell you that you're doing the right thing, because you don't have any red lines, so you're safe. There's no error, and you've put everything correctly, and you've added it to your main panel, which is very important. And oh, my bad. You know what I did? Look at what I did. Mistake, big mistake. This is supposed to come out here. Sorry about that. Let me show you what happened. It was actually working, but you know what happened was I just noticed it. This part, remember the part that we got to show everything, like the last few parts, the one that we added the label one and the main label and set the frame, it was before I put the new thing. So if you put this after it, it will not show because you're putting the background, then you're putting something after the background. So that was the mistake that I didn't pay attention to. I forgot to put that before. So I was going towards down. So now I'll just remove those things, put them down here. I didn't do anything, I just removed them. So I will put them back to their normal thing. So this means, again, you can still check with what I told you, and I'll come back and show you the other one that we put beginning. So you can still check your code here. And come back to VNC, okay? So I'll explain what I did if it's going too fast, like the mistake I made, so that you might actually make the same mistake. Now everything is stopped on my VNC. Run it again. So you can go to your workflow, run one more time, go to your VNC. And you see my username is showing, right? Even though it's like showing weird, but it's showing. So I'll fix all of that and show you what happens. Let's just understand what happened first. So before, these three lines were coming before these ones. These ones were coming at the end. And these three lines here, I had them at the top here. That's a big mistake if you make that. It can happen. It's not like it doesn't happen. But if it happens, that's probably why nothing is showing after you add. Because you're saying that you're adding the background, you're showing the frame, and then after you're trying to add something new. And so it's not going to show you. So you have to make sure that these three lines are always the very last ones in your method, the very, very last one. So if you're going to get confused, just put them at the very, very end, like that. So that's why I fixed it and it worked. So you have to be observant. So now let's get back to taking things to what they were. The color. Remove the comment. If you put a comment, it means that line is not going to work, by the way. That's just a tactic of coding, normal thing, commenting lines. Take this back, and now I'll comment this line. I don't want white anymore. Comment it out. Now go back again to your console. And by the way, you notice I'm still putting 50. Let's say I increase the size because you weren't seeing my username properly. So that's why I told you, if you don't increase the size when it's big, it's not going to show. Let's say I make it 400 this time, the width of the text. Now let's go to console. Let's see if we see all of this happening. So we'll stop it again, clear past runs, go to workflow, run your VNC, go to your VNC again, wait for it to show. And there you have it. Right? Now everything is showing, but it's like way up again. So it's weird. So, but you see the color is the same color tone. That was this one, the vibrant coral, sorry. So that's how you can get any shade of color you want in your code, anyone. So I'm going to close the color thing because I really don't need colors. I just wanted to show you that happens. But now I'm going to adjust my thing really well. So first of all, I'm going to keep my thing to 240. My size of my label. I'm also going to reduce the size to not 50 because it's just a label. So maybe 25, half of that. I'm also going to adjust my X and Y coordinates. I need the label to come into the box. Let me show you what I mean. What I want is I want my username here. I want my password here. I want my confirmed password here. That's how I want it. You can do it differently for you, but you just have to understand how to make it. So, and then I want my box here for username. Then I want a box here for the password, which will be underneath the text. Then I want to confirm password. Then I want my box here that will be done. And then I want something submit. And then probably here will be where my Imogongo design will appear once they have signed up successfully. And then probably, I don't know, I might put a login or something if necessary, but I don't think so because they have to sign up. So once they do sign up, you always redirect them. But you still need to think about people who already have an account. They don't need to sign up. So you still need to put something like a label, login, so that they can log in. Now I'm going back to my code. Let's adjust, see if everything's been adjusted fine. What did I say? I want to bring my username was like way up. I want to bring it down. Remember what I told you about bringing things down? Make it more positive. So 600 down. And then it was like way up. I kind of want to bring it into this box, right? I want to bring it down. It was like somewhere around here. I want to bring it here, like here, and I want to move it more to the right. So at this point, this isn't working for me. So I kind of maybe need to make this more positive for the X coordinates. Now, once you've made these changes, I'm not going to stay too long on them. I just want to show you that changes are working when you make them. And then I'll let you do that because I need to move on to the next thing. So I'm putting up the showing you again, rerunning again one more time. And look at where it went down now. It's now way down here. So no, that's too way down, but I like it. I'm getting somewhere. So that means I have to take it again. I was 300, then I moved to 600. It came way down here. It means if I go 800, it's probably going to disappear from here. So I probably need to raise it maybe to like 400, and then maybe, or even 350. You kind of need to play around with it, and then shift it to the side more. As you go, you get perfect in doing this type of thing. I just want to show you the trial and error method. So let's say I put it at 350 for X, meaning more to the right. And then I decide, okay, this is too down. Let's try 350 also. Select a square. So go back, stop it again, clear it, and then run it one more time. And I'm going to show you this for the last time and move on to the next thing, which is putting the text box. So here, okay, not bad. You can keep adjusting it the way you like. So for me, I'll just leave it there, but I really will change the color as well. I don't want that color. Now let's move on to the next thing. Label is done. What do? We do a text box for the username. Okay, so how do text boxes work? Pretty much the same way like labels work, but slightly different. One thing you have to be careful though is think about this real well. Now, you want your text box to store the username, right? But you want to be organized. So if you create a text box object here, it means that you cannot get what they entered as the text box to check if it exists in the database with the password. You know why I'm saying that? Is because if you want to organize your code, if you want just this method, the one that we created called start app, just to be responsible for showing your home screen, and then you want another one that's going to take the username they enter, it's going to take the password they enter after you have confirmed that the password and the confirmed password match. You have to first, they always tell you, type your password, type it again. Once you say those two match, that's what we call, verification. Okay, you guys did computer science. For those of you who didn't, the verification checks, the validation checks. For those who didn't do it, is normal thing, verification. So you want to verify data. So they enter the password, they enter it again, right? Now you take the password, you take the username, and what are you going to do? Imagine yourself, you're the compiler. You go back into the store, where's the database, check like where you have files. Okay, this username and password, do we have anybody like that? Oh, yes, we have. Okay, this person can log in. But if the person is trying to sign up, no, this person cannot sign up. We already have somebody with that, so they can sign up. There's already an account. So why I'm telling you all of this is because for that to happen, you need a separate method to do that. You can do it in the same method, but it's better to be organized. So if you create an object like you do text field, this is what I'm saying, and you, again, create an object, I don't know, let's call it text box 1. You can call it anything you want, equals, again, new J text field. And you don't put anything inside, by the way, of the parentheses, leave it blank. It's not like the label. Label is text. This one is a box where they need to type. You can put a placeholder if you're wondering. You know what a placeholder is? You can still do this. It's not like you can't do it again. You can say, enter your username. This is what's going to happen. That's what's going to appear, sorry, on the text box. That's what's going to appear. Then they will delete it and they will enter their username. So if you want to reiterate for them for that reason. But if you don't want, you can take it out. Now, what I'm saying is that if you do it this way, it's good, but it will only work inside here. If you're trying to go and later on take what they have typed in to see, oh, okay, what did they type in? Let's check the database. And you create another method and you're trying to call this text box, it will not work. So how do you make it work everywhere in this whole class? Well, you have to go back to your main class. This is important now, a new concept you're gonna remember. You have to use the keyword called static. Okay, static is something that the compiler understands that whatever is static can be used anywhere in the class. You don't have to recreate it anywhere. So if they type in their username in the text box and you want to take that username in another method and check if it exists in the database, which is a different method from this one called start app, something else you create in this class, but it's different. So what I mean is, let me explain to you. I'll just do a little demonstration. Don't just follow me. Let's say I create another method called void, and I want to say check username password. Okay, this is like another method. Imagine I'm creating something like this. Okay, so we have two methods. This is one, this is the other. The current one we're in. Go all the way to the end. Remember what I told you about curly braces? Where it ends is where the method ends. Where it begins is where the method starts. So I made all of this large space because I said keep this at the very end, always, so you don't get confused and make a mistake like we did before. Now, when I create this method, look what happens. I forgot to put a K, by the way. If I did this, now pay attention to what's going to happen. Let's say I did this, right? And then I said, okay, text box, let's do the usual thing, dot set. Also, you do the same thing here, setBounds, same thing. It works with the label, it works with the text field. So I'll put it in, maybe let's say we put it like that. I use the AI suggestion. My X is 550, my Y is this, my width is that, and my height is that. Same, sort of similar to what I had here, but let's change it only with the X coordinates, right? Because I want it to go like flow. If you want it to come down, what are you gonna change? The Y coordinate. If you want it to go flow, you change on the X. So let's say I want it to come down, but I want to keep it on the same, like I want it to be on the same X, like the same level as my text that was username. I want it on the same level, but it's gonna come down. So that means I'll keep my X the same, like I had here for my label, but I'll change my Y because it's coming down. So positive, going down from 350. So maybe, I don't know, let's try 450. Anyway, pay attention to that fact that I was telling you. So let's say now I come here and I say, oh, okay, we want to check if it's in the database. Let me create a variable. Let's call this variable check username. And then I want to use that text box, dot get one field, dot get text. You see what's happening? I have a red line, right? I'm creating a variable. And by the way, if you don't know what string is, it means that I'm saying to the compiler, what's going to run the code, compiler, I'm telling it that I want this information that I'm getting to be text-like information. String means text, letter, symbol. Once you say string, the computer understands anything in between quotation, whether it's like this or whatever you do there, really, symbols, anything. It understands that it's storing it as a string. This is called a string. So it's anything enclosed in quotation marks. Now I'm creating a string, a variable called check username. And I'm trying to tell the computer or the compiler that I want you to get the text. What did they type in the box? That's why I say get text. And I'm using the object text box 1. But I'm getting an error. Why am I getting an error? Because the computer doesn't know where you're getting that. The compiler doesn't know. I like to use the compiler better. It's technical. It doesn't know where you're getting this from. Right? Doesn't know, because you created it inside of a method called start app. And so that's completely different from this method. So if you want the compiler to know where you're getting it from, then this is what you'll do. Take it out from here, take this JText field from here, remove that, go back into your class, which basically is the class is where everything is inside. Come here and create a static variable of your JText field. Change the way you create it, declare it here. This is called declaration. You're declaring it means you're creating it here first. So when you create it here, everything inside of the class can recognize it. Do you see now the error is gone? It means it recognizes where you're getting it from because I created it here as a static. When you say static, it means you're telling the compiler that it needs to be used anywhere. It can be used anywhere I need it, I can call it. Anywhere I need it, I can call it. It's like a person who's like a free electron, you know, and you can always move the electron wherever you need. So when you make it static, it's a keyword. It means that your variable or whatever it is that is static or method, because sometimes you see me making method static. That's again because we can call them wherever we want, which is what we're doing, remember, down here. We're calling the start app because the start app is also a static method. So once you put static, it means you can use it anywhere you want in the class. But the moment I take it out, I don't have it, right? And I go back to just creating my text field here, like normal, then I will start getting that error again. So hopefully you understood this concept. So this means that I'm going to delete this method because we don't need it now, so we don't get confused. And I'll still keep my static. I'm going to make my text field static. And my text field was called text box. Now, once you create it here, this is called declaration. We use this term in programming. Declaration of the text box variable for the username. So the text box one object, not variable, it's an object. So the static keyword is the one we're using. Static meaning, let's explain. Static means you can use the object or variable or whatever it is or method. I'm just going to put dot, 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 dot in the whole class without any problem, without any errors. Oh, sorry, you can't see that because I have to move this stuff again, like that. Okay, so that's fixed. Let's move on. So that's fixed. Once you've done that, you can take it out from here. You don't need to create it again. You've already created it once, and that's it. You created once, and that's all. Then you can use it anywhere you want in your class. So moving on from here, once you do that, you need to set the only thing next to do really to finish our text box is we're going to set the font, guys. So the font, again, remember what I told you about font? You can create as much fonts as you want, and be careful with the spelling, okay? Avoid any kind of error, syntax error. So that's all. I set the font, meaning when they type inside of this box, the style of writing and the size and everything will be the same size as this. Even though it's not ideal because it's what they're typing, it shouldn't be the same size as the label, right? So what you can do is just quickly copy this one, paste it down here, change your font, you know, font 2, maybe I don't want this type of font. Let's go Arial. Then this one should maybe be like 18, should be smaller. And then, you know, I always like to align all this stuff in one line, indentation. And then here you change it to font 2. What does this mean? It means that the style of writing for the text they're going to type, which you're going to see in the box, is not going to be the same style that you had for your label, the main label. So this style is now Arial. The size is now different. I can also decide to make this bold instead of being plain. So really depends on what you want to do. And then don't forget the most important thing. Once you finish a component, you have to add it to your main panel. It's like you're just adding things, like you're decorating a room and you're putting in things as you go. So the last thing you'll do is main panel. Oops, that should not be capitalized. Write it exactly how you have it. .add, and of course your text box 1 semicolon. That's it. Now go back and test, see what's happening up until this point. Stop again, clear your past runs, come to your workflow, run again, go to your VNC, and wait for it to run. Okay, if it's not running again, like I told you, really just go back. You see what happens? See what it is? So I can delete the placeholder and type. If you think the text box is too small, too far away, again, I'm not going to go over the whole readjusting positioning thing. I think you know how to position stuff. But if it's too small, because the text box is teeny, you want it to be thicker, then you can do what? What did I say you can do? Increase the thickness, the height. So I don't know, make it 40 or something. So come back to the console, stop it again, go to your workflow, run it one more time, go to your VNC, see how everything looks like, what you like, what you don't like. And now it's thicker than before, so it looks a bit better. And then of course you got to move things around. So I'm not going to show that part. I think we know how to move stuff around, but you understand the concept. So what is the next thing? Now it's a copy paste kind of thing. So what I like to do is I like to organize stuff. This initially was ... This was my, let's call it username. I like to do this when I'm coding, organize things, because sometimes you share your code, you don't know with who. Now, this was my username. What are we going to do next? The same thing, but this time password. So this is why AI comes into place here. Very easy peasy. Just copy the whole thing, paste it down here. And if you have a problem, you know, things are not looking aligned, you're having red lines, don't panic. Just do Shift Tab. Shift Tab takes it back. Shift and Tab. If you don't know how to do that, then just click and do a backspace. Works also. Shift Tab just to keep things on the same line. You know, I like that whole indentation stuff. It's important. Now I'm getting errors here and I'm going to fix it, but let me just first of all do the whole positioning thing. Confirm password, do the same thing, paste everything here. Shift Tab for me, or use a backspace if you prefer, you know, whichever one you want. Now, when you come in here for password, well, password, remember you can't have the same object. You've already used it once. This is called a duplication error. So if you take it over there, it's going to tell you that's already defined. You've already used it. So I'm going to call this label 3. Very easy. Change it, but you be careful. Make sure you change everything. If not, you're not going to be seeing stuff showing again. Now, label 3 is your new label, the new text. This is not going to be username anymore, right? It's going to be password, because we're doing password. You see what I did? Sectioning. So this is all done. This is all you need to change. You just need to change the object of your JLabel, and then of course change what you actually want to show. That's it. The next thing you want to do is, well, this you don't have to keep repeating yourself. If you're going to do the same color, then do it only once. Like if you've used it before and you want to use it for everything else, which I assume you don't want to do a rainbow, right? You want to keep things professional, nice looking, then you don't have to keep doing this anymore. You can just use it anytime you want and you're not going to get any errors. Just change the label to set to that foreground. That's all. You can use the same color. If you are going to get another color, then you have to create another color object. Okay, so that's just pretty much what it is. So once you do this change for your label, then you add it. Don't forget to make change here as well. Again, you don't have to keep doing this step. You just remove any unnecessary comments. Just try to clean up your code. Remove anything unnecessary that you didn't use. Just take it out. You don't need the duplication. So now you just have to make sure that you've changed this to label 3. This is all set now. The label for the password is all done. Same thing you're going to do for the text box. This time you're doing a text box, not for username, but for password. You're changing the object, label 2. You're going to get an error. That's because you have to go and create it. Remember, make it static. And then, of course, the font, you decide. Are you going to use the same font? I'm going to use the same font, so I'm keeping it. So now I'll change this one. The panel, you don't change it. Don't say panel, main panel 2. You only have one panel on one screen. The things that are changing are the things you're putting on the panel. So the panel still stays the same. So now for text box 2, you go back up, go back to where you have this static text box, pretty much just copy paste really. So you're doing the same thing you did for text box 1. And then, guys, one little correction, sorry. One little correction, and I have to pay attention to this. For the text box, we're not gonna use text field. Nope, we're gonna use password field. You know why? Because we wanna hide the password. If you use text box, then when they're typing in the password, somebody can be do shoulder, what's that called in cyber, in what do you call that thing? Internet safety? No, there's a name for it, shoulder bolting, you know, shouldering. Somebody can be looking at your password is what I'm saying. So there's a technical name for it. I think it's called shouldering in computing. So that you have to be careful. That's why I said we're using a password field. We're not using a text field for password. We're not putting text, we're putting password, and you're gonna see what I mean. So I'm gonna have to wrap up and soon, but go back up and make that change. Go back up here, make the change, password. So this is not the whole cybersecurity thing that I was talking to you guys about. This is just when they're typing. Cybersecurity is when the hashing algorithm happens. When you're taking that password and you're running it through millions of computing processes so that you can get a hash. random letters and numbers that is immutable and can only be created once. Cannot be decrypted, is only encrypted if you want to use that word. So now let me show you what I mean. So for this, I'm going to have to do something here, okay? Look what I'll do. I'll put a multi-line comment. Sorry about that. So what does multi-line commenting mean? Well, for those of you who do Java, know what multi-line commenting means. You commented the whole block at once instead of going line by line. So I commented that because I wanted to show you how this password thing looks like right now. So going back up, the password obviously needs to go more to the left, to the right, sorry. So I'm going to change my label because it needs to move from the username. And the username is at 350. So I need it more to the right. So that's for me. Of course, you have to check for you what you want. So go by 100 pixels forward. So 150, or you can say by steps, whatever you want to say. So 150, making it 450. I went increment by 100. Now for the Y coordinate, I don't think I'm going to change the Y because it has to be on the same level as the username. So if I change the Y, it's going to look odd. So let's keep the Y the same. Now for the text box, right? Not the text box, the password box. I did have my text field at 450. So we kind of want to keep it the same and obviously use logic. That has to stay the same. What will change is that it has to go with the same, X coordinate as your field, as your text, as your label. So that's what I will put, 450, 450 in this case, because it's going right underneath password. So, but it's moving forward. Now let's go back and see it and see how everything looks like so far. So far, password is okay. Now go back to your console real quick. Stop at your console. Remember, if you want to run the whole thing, then you're going to click this thing and it runs everything at once. If you don't want the whole thing running, then just go for workflows and just go for just this one and it will run. So for me, I already set it such that it runs only the VNC. I did that by communicating with the AI here. I don't want to go show that, but it's there. So anyways, when you come here, look at what's happening. A lot of problems are happening. Password looks intertwined with username. The stuff is actually, when I type, you guys can't see it because I'm masking the password. That is why we use the password field. But yeah, things need to change real quick, right? So I need to move the password even further to the right side because it's all jungled up with the username. So let's say I go 600. I'm just saying you can adjust that the way you want. Also, I'll move it to, the same thing, 600. Now, I don't want to put this in password because you saw what's happening. When you put something there, it's going to show it there. It's password. They should enter password. They know what password is. So I'm taking that out. It will be just a blank box, not like this one that would tell them enter username. And you can take that out too if you don't want. Now, let's go back for the last time before we wrap up this lesson. Stop again, clear, run. I'm just running just that part. And let's see how everything looks like so far. Okay, it's looking way better. Now things are looking a little bit stretched out. And when I type it, you can't see my password, right? It's masked. That's because we use the password field. If I use the text field, you would be seeing what I'm typing there. So that's what you have to do and do the confirm password. Then we've just got to get the buttons. So I think I'm going to do a part 2 of this video lesson. I will do a part 2 that probably you get on Friday or something, or maybe on Thursday if I try to get it done, depending on how busy I am maybe, but I'll try. And what the part 2 is going to be is I'm not going to do confirm password. I'll leave you to do that one, but you'll see it done on my screen. You'll see it done when I start to make the second part of this video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to the method where we validate, making sure that they entered password, they entered something, they didn't just leave it blank, and they want to click submit and send it to the database. We can't have a blank database or blank data. That's the thing I'll do. I'll also do the part that generates the hashed password. So I'll explain cybersecurity there, and then maybe probably explain the Imogongo pattern, so that might be the last thing we need to do. So I think that's all that probably is. And then remember, once I finish the sign up, you're going to do the login yourself. I'm only going to guide you because then we're going to go into the main page, and that's like easy peasy. And the things I'm going to show you, the way I'm going to show you will be easy because you would understand it and you'd know how to extend it even further. So I hope, guys, that you understood this part for now. I'm coming back to the classroom. Of course, if you have questions, I hope I timing, but let's see. Oh, someone says they can't hear me now. So I'm not sure if you could all hear me during the lesson. I'm hoping you could all hear. Was it okay? Okay. Okay, guys, any questions? How many are we here? Oh, we're 16, so we're even less than last class. Okay, this is why we say attendance is important, guys. We're always having attendance issues. For those of you who are attending, obviously you're showing how serious you are and how you want to benefit from this. I want to take the opportunity to talk about the Tech Talk session, as you guys have already seen, for those who have groups. That's a session that we're trying to gather you guys and see, you can write tech, but how can you talk tech? Being able to create an app is one thing, but being able to sell your app and to start up a business is another thing, right? So I want everybody here to be able to be a startup founder, which you can. It's not something difficult, but you have to be organized. And so we're trying to come up with this session such that you guys can talk to each other if you have any problems technically with what I'm explaining, any issues about your app, but everybody's doing their app on their own, of course. And then on top of that, you guys are going to start up a business plan. This is serious. It's a business plan based on the resources that we are going to explore in this app. The idea is that the group gets together, talks about a business plan that you can actually do with the resources you have there, or a resource. And an example is given to you in the document that the admin sent for you. And then that plan you have to build over time. You have to, because your session is starting this week, I hope you know. So it's starting this week. This means from now, from Monday, you have to get together. First, you have to sign the document, return it back. Then you're going to meet each other wherever you meet yourselves, if it's physical or online, because some of you are online. I think a group is online. And then you have to start planning that business and you have to start documenting it, because Nazli Tech School is looking to co-found and help a group who has a concrete idea that we see is plausible to help in the way we can to start up your business and collaborate with you and help you grow. So for us to do that, well, we have to see what you're capable of doing in terms of how you can get together and work and plan and look at something that is feasible on a small scale. There's a second thing. We got an email recently from a company called Aligner, and they're looking for software engineers, and you get paid based on the job you choose. It's an online job. I'm going to post it on the chat later on today. If you're a passionate software engineer, you like creating stuff, well, they have a lot of things they want you to work on, and they pay you accordingly. So you can, it's a big company in North America. You can check it out on LinkedIn. We're going to put all the details there. We got their email today in the morning asking about the software engineering graduates of Nazli Tech School, and they're interested in having you guys sign up on the website and choosing a task and working on it and getting paid, hopefully for whoever completes the task. So I'll let you know about that. We've asked them to see if they can come as a special guest, because we're hoping we have a special guest. Yes, there is attendance. I think I have shared the attendance. Did I not share it? I think maybe some people didn't get it. That's okay. I'm going to share it one more time. Just bookmark it. Just save it. It's on the chat, okay? Please let me know if you have no problem accessing the attendance. So what I was talking about, the software company guys, I'll post, the admin will post, because I don't think I will post. They will post it on the group, and you can go and check them out, check them on LinkedIn. If we get them to come in as a special guest, because we've asked one of them called Darius Mitchell, I think is the head something there, or head something. Anyways, if they decide to come on a special talk, then, you know, to show us what their software is about, what the company is about, and help you understand how you can sign up and how, but I think everything is clear. Anyways, I think that's it. So group people, get your groups together. This is this week. Lesson 2 is coming up, the recording, the assignment, the learning journey. Today is the last day for lesson 1 learning journey. Make sure you do it properly according to instructions. And please read the post before you start asking questions. It's important, because sometimes you ask things that are present in the post. Is there any questions for today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead, Mary.
Okay, I want to find out on the the new projects where that we've been paired. Is it a general, like a group work, or an individual app? And
Good
like
question.
developing the app, is it together or a single affair?
Good question, Mary. The app, everyone is doing their app on their own. So you keep doing your app on your own. The group thing, I don't know if you guys had it, but I had it in university. It's not like I went to a European university. I went to Singapore, and then I went to Malaysia. That was under the United Kingdom. There was a university there. Why I'm saying all of this was that we had these group tech talks sessions where whenever we had projects like these, that we had to develop. We met together and we talked about what we're working on, like if we had any problems, because obviously sometimes some people know how to solve some problems. You don't give someone to do solve your problem. Don't solve anything for anybody. You just talk about it. Okay, I did this and I was able to get it this way, la la la, from the lesson. So that's why we're organizing the tech talk. But we also want to reward you for your effort, because having to go and sit down and talk to people and talk about things and what you're working on, how you can extend, is very important to build your skills if you want to be successful now in the world, in the tech world, whether you start up a business or you work with anybody. That's on one side, Mary. So the Code Hills app is developed individually, not as a group. The group talk is only to meet and speak about what you're doing. If you have any roadblocks, you can ask each other. Of course, you can ask me too. I'll try my best through to group chat, to DM to respond. The second part of it is the business proposal. We want to see you pick a resource and start, creating a business idea. You might say, well, I'm in software right now, I'm in tech, so I'm not sure how I can do a resource. You can make it a smart resource. That's why you need to read the document we sent you. It is a smart resource in the very simplest, cheapest way possible, but it is a plausible business. It's something that can grow. It can start small, and then that's something we want to see how we can fund that group if it's a good idea by the end of the session. And when is the session ending? When you submit your app, that's when the group meetings might end. It might continue on for you guys, but that's officially when we consider it ended, when we need your proposals, because we want to see who we can pick for this year. So based on that, we help to fund you in finance the way we can to help the group. You become collaborating and partnering with Nazli Tech School in that business. We provide you the professional training. You basically are a startup founder as a group, startup founders, or just one group having your own organization and working together, which is what we hope to see, but actually getting this business on ground. We don't believe in talking, we believe in action. And I think that's something that mostly Africa, unfortunately, is a little bit behind in, mostly talking, no action. So that's why we want to see what's going to happen. And that's what your responsibility is. Every mentor and every group has a responsibility. You need to upload things every week. Don't forget to read the document again, what your responsibilities are going to be. And of course, everybody should be respected in the group, where everybody's listened to. Nobody should be overlapped or, the mentor feeling that I'm the one in charge. Everyone is a mentor. It's just that we need always one person there who's going to gather everything and submit. Do we understand how the group works? Yep. Samila, go ahead before we close up. Go ahead, Samila.
Yes, I understand about the green zip. I just wanted to ask, there are no specific tasks. It's just to talk what you did and help others, and then you submit at the end of the day what you did as a group, or there are other specific tasks that the group should do or submit. And again, there is another question, is it mandatory or is not mandatory?
It's not mandatory. So that's why we get to pick people who are actually passionate and who are actually competent. So it's not mandatory, Samila, it's optional. We already have 3 groups done. So we can't have any more groups, because I was getting something. I know there are some of you that are still serious out there that want to have a group, but we don't have any more groups. Just 3 is finished. That's the only group we're accepting. Those 3 groups that we sent to. It is, once you are in a group, that means you said you are going to take up this challenge and you're going to be meeting with your group to get things done. What you need to get done is in the email and in the document. So I really need to remind to please go back there and read it. I can't tell you every single thing, but what I can do is, I said, first part is you meet up with each other, talk about roadblocks of your app, how you plan on extending this app. Second part is choosing a business. That should be your first session. What is your business idea? From these resources you're going to be using in your app, what is the business idea that you want to take? What can you do? Can you do packaging twines? Is that what you're going to do? Or are you going to do the agasake baskets and make them into furniture tables that are really well, I don't know. There's so many ideas. If I was the one doing them, obviously I would have those ideas as well to share, which we do, but we want to see what you have. So that's what you need to start planning, documenting, taking pictures of, recording video clips that you need to edit. All that is in the document. So take your time to read it, every single member, understand what it is. That's why you have to sign. You put your name in there and put a date. Once you're in the group, you're in the group. If a group member tells us you're out, we're going to remove you from that group. Like if a mentor, let's not say a group member because we don't know. If the mentor of the group says that this person is no longer in our group, we're going to send an email and say, okay, we have received this. This person is not in this group. And that is what we will continue with up until the end. So That's why you have to agree between yourselves. One, I think there's two groups that doesn't have a mentor. You really need to have a mentor. You can't go without a mentor. So I think the admin has said that. Please send who is your mentor. I think only one group, the first group, has a mentor already set.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Verite. Oh, Samila, does that answer your question before I move on to Verite?
Yes, you answered it, but you sent us the email. Like me, I'm in group B. But when you open that folder of group B, it shows nothing. There is nothing in the folder.
Yes, that's a good
Oh, we will
observation.
access the sheet so that we get the group members.
Yes, that's one thing. And if you want to know what you're going to put in the folder, which is a good question, then just read the PDF because it's explained there what will be in the folder or what is expected at least, where I think it's your clips, your pictures, your posts, whatnot. Just read the PDF and the email as well. Okay. And if you have any specific questions after you've read, but make sure you have read it, because if you ask a question that's already been included in the document, they will just send you a screenshot and tell you that it's there, or they will just tell you refer back. So please make sure you take the time, read it, or upload the document to an AI, tell it to summarize it to you if you don't want to read the whole thing, but it's not much. But all the answer that you need, Samila, is in the PDF or it's in the email. But if you still read it in both and you still don't see the answer, then feel free to send them an email. But just think twice before you do that you've actually read. And then, of course, if not, you can say that I didn't see it anywhere. That's why I'm asking, but I'm sure they will help you. Samila, is that okay? That answers the question for now?
Yes.
Okay, Ilham, okay, why don't I go to Verite, and because I don't want to keep people here. So Verite, let's go over to you and then I'll come to Ilham. Yes, Ilham, you can leave if you don't have any questions, Ilham. You can go. Have a good day. Take care. No problem. Take care. Verite, do you want to ask your question before we leave, or?
Yeah,
Go ahead,
thank you.
Verite.
I just wanted to ask, so if someone doesn't have a group by now, they can't be added into a group. That was my question.
I mean, unless you go there and you talk to a group that's already been official and ask them if they can add you and justify why you haven't been added, Verite, then if they agree with that, then the mentor has to send us an email and say that Verite is going to be added to our group, but we have a limit. Today's the limit. So if anything needs to be added, today will be the end. But you can explain to them and they will send to us, and then we'll review, and then we'll hopefully add you because it's still today. So, I mean, the groups were ended yesterday, but today would be the end. That's a good question too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, guys, please feel free to go. Whoever wants to go, who has to stay, stay. Make sure you do your attendance. Have a good one, and just continue working on your app. And I'm wishing all the best to all the groups. We're really looking forward to seeing what you're gonna do, really. So hopefully we see something great. If you want to stay because you have a question, stay on. But if you want to leave, feel free and have a nice evening. Josiane, do you want to ask your question before we go? Because I think your hand was raised the last time. Okay, no. Okay, guys, have a great evening. Take care, everybody, and speak to you hopefully in the next lesson.